we have now in the House passed more than 70% of the discretionary spending on appropriations. Need I remind you, how much has the Senate passed? 0. Not one appropriation bill has passed the Senate. We've done what many have said was impossible. When I became Speaker, I said we're going to change Washington. And we did that by keeping our commitment to restoring regular order. Bills that passed committee in June and July have been open for amendments for months. Struggled with a number of members who wouldn't allow it to come up, but I never gave up. 440 amendments were considered on the floor this week. And for those who are historians, we are the first Republican majority to pass the State and Foreign Ops Bill through regular order since 2006. My entire political career as a member of Congress, the Republicans have never been able to do what they just did last night. As we continue to get conservative wins and return to regular order, we actually need a stopgap measure to allow the House to continue to finish its work, to make sure our military gets paid, to make sure our border agents get paid as we finish the job that we're supposed to do. Another reason for the stopgap is to address President Biden's historic failure on the southern border. This is how bad things have gotten under President Biden's watch. In 5 days, there's been more than 50,000 illegal border crossings. Put that in perspective, in just 5 days. That's more than twice as much as the average for the entire month in the last administration. A wide open policy hurts America. We've heard it from Democrat leaders across the country. But despite the chaos, the president still won't go to the border, setting new records every day. Fentanyl at an all-time high, killing Americans, and he refuses to go to the border. He's been one time in 50 years. One time in 50 years. He's had more dinners with Hunter Biden's foreign business partners than he has going to the border. Think about that for 1 minute. Something he said he's never done. He's done more than he's ever been to the border in 50 years as an elected official. He was less than 200 miles from the border this week in Arizona. Less than 200 miles. And he couldn't even stop by for an 87-second photo op. Really makes you believe that President Biden is deliberately letting this happen and trying to continue to ignore it. If Biden won't visit the border, why won't he at least listen to the Democratic leaders that are elected across this nation? Mayors of New York City say Biden's border policy will literally destroy the city of New York. Governor of New York says illegal immigrants should go somewhere else. The governor of Massachusetts declared a state of emergency. Mayor of El Paso says the city is at a breaking point. Mayor of Eagle Pass, Texas, says President Biden has abandoned them. Not one of these individuals is a Republican. Why does President Biden and congressional Democrats continue to ignore the border and ignore their own leaders? That is why I'm putting on the floor a stopgap measure that will fund the government and secure the border. No longer can the president ignore a problem he created that kills Americans every single day, destroys some of our greatest cities, and puts states in a state of emergency. Every member will have to go on record of where they stand. Are they willing to secure the border, or do they side with President Biden on an open border and vote against a measure to keep government open?
You know, we're moving the needle on this. The speaker talked about, the mayors and the folks that are out there talking about the impact, the human cost impact, the financial cost impact in New York and Massachusetts. But we had Democrats on my committee this week admit that there was a humanitarian crisis at the border, that the cartels are in control of the border. Go listen to them. Yet President Biden and Secretary Mayorkas do nothing. And so, the Speaker's leadership, we're going to put this on the CR. And look, there's a return on investment here that's pretty simple. If you do a 30-day CR that costs X dollars and you shut the border down forever with H.R. 2, the strongest, best border security bill in the history of this country, you save hundreds of billions of dollars over those years and tens of thousands of American lives.
Over the last couple of weeks here on Capitol Hill, much of the conversation and the rhetoric has been focused around the fact that Republicans can't seem to agree. But you're mistaken, we do agree. We agree that we need to rein in reckless spending from Joe Biden's administration. We agree that there is nothing more important right now than securing our southern border. If you want to see people who can't get along, focus your attention on what now has become a circular firing squad of Democrats just in my home state of New York. You have Mayor Adams, you have Governor Hochul, you have Secretary Mayorkas, you have President Biden and our so-called border czar, Kamala Harris, sitting around a circle, firing shots at one another because they have no idea how to make this disaster better.